Hi guys, welcome. My name is Amanda. For those of you that are new to the channel, for those of you who've been here before, welcome back again, into friends and family, g'day. Radio, we are going to talk about the 365 Pantry Challenge. So why do we do a challenge? All right, for everybody that would like to know the reasons why, there are plenty. All right, let's start with, saves me fuel. All right, I don't have to drive to the shops. Saves me time because I don't have to pack everything away. Saves me space because I'm not bringing more stuff in when we're already full to the brim when it comes to fresh produce or frozen produce, okay, as well as what's in the pantries. And what's in the pantries probably isn't enough in theory for a year, so I need to be very mindful of that, which is another reason to do a challenge, to be mindful of the produce you have. And if you're running low on something, switch up your meal plans and make something different so that you're not relying heavily on a particular item. We use a fair bit of flour for bread, but I technically should be gluten-free. My husband works away from the property, so he's not here an awful lot. My son does not need to have bread every day of the week, although I like him to have bread available for him to have sandwiches. But do I have to make bread every single day? No. Do I have to make it every other day? Probably not. Can I make it, slice up and put it in the freezer and then just pull out a few slices at a time and maybe that's okay? I think that's okay. So there is that. There is the being mindful of the products that we have and making it stretch. Am I going to go as far as doing meal plans for a year? No, I can't do that, okay? I don't cook based on a list. I'm terrible. If somebody gave me a menu and told me that I had to follow that menu every single day after spending months in a hospital, I can tell you now the answer is absolutely not. I want to have what I want when I want it, and preferably it's on my shelves or in my cupboards. Otherwise, I need to make it. If I can't make it, then I need to switch up what I want to what I can have. If it's something that I need, that's different. Then I will get what I need. But if I don't need something, then no, I won't specifically be getting it. Now, me personally, you will know if you've watched the videos, I need Vegemite. Okay, I don't want Vegemite, I need Vegemite. It's different. It's salt. I don't add salt to any other part of my diet. There's something about Vegemite that my body screams for. And whether or not that is some of the medical issues that I have that screams and tells me that I need to have sodium, then I need to have Vegemite. It's like not having coffee, what people are like. And I gave coffee up. It's like when I went off coffee, the headaches would begin and they lasted 4 weeks. It's when I gave up sugar, the same thing happened, okay? When I am strict on my diet, none of the processed food exists in the diet. So it's being mindful that we don't need to have all of those additional items. We can do without them. Maybe not the salt, okay? So if I took away Vegemite, I'd have to put salt somewhere else. And so why would I take away Vegemite? Because it's something that I like. It's my little treat. I'm not giving up my Vegemite, people. All right. Fuel. Okay, so we are going to save on fuel. That fuel money can be redirected into the diesel that we need for the excavator, the fuel that's needed for the mowers and the chainsaws and the farm equipment that we use. So redirecting our funds into that makes more sense to me. Around me is my bank. This, to me, is my savings account that I can draw on when needed. And I've decided that I need next year to draw on it because we have some extraordinary veterinary bills at the moment, and I need to be mindful that they're going to be increasing. So there's that. There's also all of the produce that needs to be used that we have been purchasing at the outlets, saving money, reducing our cost of living, and doing the right thing for the past year. It's time that I actually sit back and enjoy some of what I've done and make things a little bit easier and just take it a little bit easier for the next year and spend more time outside, doing more work outside, as well as not spending as much time inside. We're going to be reducing the costs of power bills as well. We do a lot of canning, and so that does increase our power usage. It doesn't increase our power bills because I have invested in the solar system that does run the household power for most of the time. But if I stop using the stoves and I stop doing all of the food preservation, then the excess solar goes back to the grid. That equals money that comes off the bills in the end because we do get grid power as well. So it will bring down our grid power usage charges, and so we will save money on utility bills as well. I would love to be able to save money on the rates. We can save on water because we've got the tanks and it's raining and the tanks are full, and that's fantastic. We can save on water and we can save on waste. But we can't save on everything. We can't stop the price of land taxes continuing to increase and the cost of our rates going up. So there is increased cost of living that is going to continue to happen that we need to be trying to mitigate by reducing our household spending and having some money aside for the unexpected bills that are going to come. Now, I know there are people that will say, well, why use all your emergency supplies of food and your products that you've stored and everything like that? Why use that now? Why not wait? Well, I don't know what I'd be waiting for, is probably what I would say. I don't know, are we waiting for it to get really bad before we go, oh, now I can start to use all of the produce that may have already now expired on the shelf and I'll be throwing it away and wasting it? Or do I use it now and save my money and put that into restocking later on? And I know that it's going to cost more later on, potentially. It will cost more later on. I have seen the cost of meats go up at Costco, for example. I've seen the price of produce and different items going up at our local produce areas. And I've seen processed items that we buy at Costco and at outlets increasing in price. But I've also seen them coming down in different areas. It's just being smart and knowing which way to shop and when to shop for certain things. Costco's really good. They have their rotating specials on laundry items and things. So when the washing pods that I get, for example, come on sale and they're $15 less, that's when I buy them. I don't buy them when they're full price at $52 a block. I buy them when they are reduced. That makes more sense. So as long as we're still savvy when it comes to doing our shopping when the challenge is over, then the replenishment of the stocks that we do use shouldn't exceed our previous year. In fact, it should be less. And it's because by then we should have a better idea of what it is that we need and versus what we want. If it's something we want, then the question is, do we really need it? And should we be spending money on it? Or can we do something else instead? So for us, it's a learning exercise as well. We have done yearly challenges in the past. We just haven't documented it. And we haven't had the support of everybody as well. And I'm sure there are people out there that are just going to be watching to see it fail. We will see. It's as simple as that. We will see. Now, in the event that something really bad happens, let's be real, if there's a repeat of 2020, if there's some major conflict that occurs, if there is something that causes us to have to rethink a 365 challenge, of course, then we will rethink a 365 challenge. But predominantly, we would like to be able to rotate the stock on the shelves, continue to grow our own produce, continue to fill the pantries, start using some of those big A10 tins that are down in the laundry area that are shelved and, perfectly fine, I'm sure, for probably a decade, but I don't want them for a decade. I want them to be used. And so we're going to be using them more than what we have been. I've probably used, out of 30 cans, I might have used 8, maybe 10 of the cans so far. There's still quite a lot that need to go through. So stock rotation, definitely. We can't store things forever. There is also the pantries and our dry stores area. We can't keep it forever. We don't have the facilities to be keeping things like flour, pasta, dry goods, processed foods can't be stored forever here, unfortunately. And they all have lifespans. Rice might keep for a number of years, but flour definitely not. So we need to rotate through our dry stores as well. And that's another reason to do the challenge. There's veterinary care, and our veterinary bills at the moment are pretty high. It was over $600 this week alone. So we are going to have increased veterinary bills because we do have lots and lots of old animals, unfortunately. One cat's 20, one cat's 18. Bilbo, the pug, he's turning 8. His medication this week was $115 for his eardrops alone. Coda, yeah, she was $700. So the bills do keep on coming. So if we can save our cost of expenditure and redirect those funds into more emergent situations, I think that is a better use of our spending. Sorry about that. There's also storage of items that we've purchased that we have learned over time just do not store very well. These cardboard tins. I've had to reprocess 1, 2, 3 this week. This one is okay. I can hear the powder moving around, although it does feel a bit lumpy down the bottom. I have to check this one too now that I've done that. The cardboard is absorbing the humidity, the moisture in our air at the moment with our storms and things like that. So although these cans are still well within date, they need to be opened and reprocessed. And for me, that means putting them into the high-pressure blender, blending them back up again to a powder, and then repackaging and back sealing them. That takes me time, and it's a resource with my vac bags that is a bit of a pain to have to do. They probably will store better in glass and with a oxygen absorber in them, and that's probably what I'll do to the remaining cans that need to be opened as well. It's all just a learning curve that we are still going through when it comes to some bulk food items. Most of them I'm pretty good with, but there's the odd one that I come across that it's gone off, or it's wasted, or it's no longer, a particularly nice looking product, and it makes me ask why. What is it that I've done differently? Has there been a problem? Has there been a seal fail for a jar, for example? This guy is evaporating slowly, but I've looked at it and its seal is still down. No mold inside, and this is high sugar, high vinegar. There's no mold or anything inside. It's completely clear. Its lid is lovely. There's nothing in there. There's no pitting or anything like that. But it is slowly evaporating. But I mean, this is 5 years old. So, alcohol evaporates too. That's been sealed. Or your white alcohol, your spirits will evaporate too, as I've learned over the years. If you don't consume it, it just evaporates, which is really sad. But, when you do want to go use it, just be mindful that it's seriously concentrated in that bottle. As this will no doubt be as well. This will be very concentrated, so it's probably not going to taste very nice. We've lost about a third, I guess. It's still within the 50%, but I think this is probably now too long in storage. This one probably will be emptied out and the jar will be washed and refreshed. So that's an option as well, which is why we need to rotate. The freezers are the same. The freezers are full of produce. Most of it has been bought in the past 12 months, but again, I have found some items that predate December last year. So they're over 12 months old. They're items that shouldn't be in the freezer that long. So they are seafood like smoked trout, smoked salmon, that is cooked, but it is in the freezer. So probably won't taste very nice. My cats will probably enjoy that more, but do I want to give them the nitrates and nitrites? I don't know that I do. So there are items in the freezer that also need to be rotated on a regular basis. As I'm coming across some fish fillets that have gone beyond 12 months, they're not pleasant to eat. Even my cats won't eat them anymore. So there are items that need to be removed from the freezers. So the Pantry Challenge helps us also keeping an inventory, whether that be a mental inventory or a physical inventory of what items I have in the freezer, so that when I do a restocking, I don't purchase items I already have, because that's just a waste of money as well. So there's that too. So they're the main things that we want to do. We want to be rotating our stock. We want to remove any items that we don't use or don't eat that are still within date, and they're going to be donated to the food banks. I don't need them, and we don't eat them as a family, then there's no point having them on the shelves. We may have used them at some point, but at some point we no longer do. And so any of those items that I come across in the pantry will be put aside and donated to food bank as well. And we'll see what that looks like each time I do it. But generally for the next year, there will be no purchasing of any items for the household pantries, the laundry areas or the hygiene areas, then the bathroom areas and those zones, no purchasing of them. We will still be purchasing food for all of the animals, including the livestock, because I cannot predict when, like we copped a storm a couple of days ago and everything got wet, and so I need to start again. And I almost had it delivered yesterday, and I'm glad I didn't, because it had rained all night long and we have more storms forecast over the next few days. So I need to get our food just to last us through to next week, and hopefully it'll dry out a little bit more, but it's very humid and that does affect our purchasing quantities. We don't tend to buy as much because the humidity will just attack the bales. There's no point. So during the challenge, we will still be having veterinary care, livestock feed. All of the domestic and exotic animals will still be getting food purchased exclusively separate from the household budget, whereas for the past year, our $3,000 included all of the domestic animals' food. So this is the first time we've removed that from the budget. So it'll be interesting to see just what the animals cost exclusively to feed. I know what my livestock costs, that doesn't bother me, but all of these other animals, they do cost a little bit more, and as I said, they are getting older, so their veterinary care is increasing as well. We will see. And medications. Any pharmaceuticals are not included in our pantry challenge. I can't plan a year in advance, although most of the pharmaceuticals are in the cupboard for a year. There is always the odd time when something is needed in addition, and so we would still do that. But generally speaking, it means no spending. You know, I've got a well-stocked medical kit bin and RN, so I shouldn't need anything for medical-wise. But like I said, there's always the odd thing. And my medical supplies rapidly deteriorates when I have an injured animal. My syringes get pulled out of our stocks, our needles, everything gets pulled out of the household stock and gets used on the animals, especially if there's an injury. And so we do try to avoid them, but it does happen. And I think I went through my kit 4 times over last year, and it is a substantial kit. And I went through the stock of it 4 times over after we had an incident with the goats down the back. And so we used a lot of products. They've all been restocked. So hopefully that won't happen again, but you never know. We will see. So that is our plan for our big 365 challenge. Anybody that would like to do a pantry restock, rejuvenation, revolve a few of your products around, change the way that you're eating possibly, and remove some of the processed foods and go for more whole foods. I'm not suggesting you don't eat the foods that you have. I'm suggesting possibly that we're going to change the way that we eat. Cooking from scratch is great financially as well as physically, because you know exactly what you're getting. There are certain foods that are needed. Protein is one of them, and if I can't get protein via meats and things like that, then protein powders are substituted in soups and things like that. So, you know, as a nurse, I do have an understanding of nutritional requirements, so I'm not concerned about any nutritional requirements for the family at all. Our process is mostly about reserving the products that we've purchased and not wasting anything. I'm currently going through the refrigerator. The whole top shelf is glass jars, okay? It's just all half-pint jars. So I have to go through all of that to work out what's at the back, whether we need it, if it's still edible, if it's not, and replenish all of that with some fresh produce. Also going through any fresh produce that needs to be preserved for the coming year. So carrots, bananas, this lot. There's 3 of them, and I've got beautiful bananas that are growing. They will still take several months before they're ready. I've got a few bunches, but they'll take several months before they're ready. I've dehydrated some bananas, but I've taken my last banana bread out of the freezer as well, and that needs to be replaced. So 3 bananas is what I need to make banana nut bread. So I'll be doing that later. We really have been enjoying coleslaw this year, this past season, and I want to do some more of these. And I have been preparing early by putting the individual ingredients into jars. So pickled carrots. So using the same brine that I use for the coleslaw, I've been grating up carrots, onions, and capsicums, and cucumbers, because God knows we've got enough cucumbers, and preserving them in this way. And so that I can then just open the jars to make a really large coleslaw, then that coleslaw can be reprocessed once again if I need to, if it doesn't get consumed, because these are quite big. I should have been putting these in half-pint jars instead of the full pint jars. They should have been going into the half-pint jars. And I could have had the 4 ingredients to make the coleslaw separate and then just make up a quart. But instead I've done this. But that's why we're doing the challenge. So for those that are joining in their own capacity, one way or another, welcome. We will do regular updates throughout the year, and I'm sure over time people will see the shelves filling and not decreasing and have a better understanding as to what it is to do a pantry challenge. This is not our first large pantry challenge. It is just the last one that I have decided to do recently, and it's the one that I'm deciding to bring you guys along for you to experience what it's like to do a pantry challenge, the good, the bad, and everything in between. So come along and let's spend some time emptying out these cupboards, rotating our stock, and then at the end, let's see how much we've got left and how much money we've saved, and then the preparation to restock begins again. All right, guys, thanks very much. Bye now.